Okay, so how we start all these sections. What is we list and rant the grievances we have as the class with the class as it is right now. The
All right.
Artificer.
The Artificer's issue.
So many is existence.
Okay, but on my mind, when you play the Artificer, you're here to be the guy that makes the magic items. And at the start of the game, you do that. And then later in the game, you find everyone else is just going to take the magic items that DM gives because they're just way better than anything you could ever make, and you suck, and you should feel bad for picking an Artificer for daring to do what the Wizards of the Coast already made in the game.
Basically, Artificer feels like once I hit level 5, I'm just gonna kill off my character and make a new one.
There you go.
Like, I can make a music box and a flashlight. Like,
So,
wow.
hey, how about this? How about this? Hot take. Are you ready, guys? Why is the Artificer a half caster?
Oh.
What does the
Artificer? Full caster.
It should be a full caster. What does the Artificer get to supplement only being a half caster? Because the item invocation sure ain't it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So, creating magic items is like basically putting a spell, roughly, into an item. Being a full caster means you have more options of spells to put into items.
Yeah, truly. I really feel like it does not make any sense. No matter how many ways I think about it, it does not make sense to me that they are a half caster.
Where do we start with this?
Where do we start? Well, that's the thing I was saying. I want to make them a full caster, but we're not going to sit here and make them a spell list. Not right now, at least. This is why I said maybe the Artificer should be its own stream later, because there's so much I want to do here. And we also already been going for 3 hours.
Do we want, if we are decided on making it a full caster, that will definitely be a full stream.
I'm adamant that there is no reason it's not a full caster.
Is that what we're gonna go with?
I'm going with.
All right. Okay. If we still keep the item infusing, then I think it will be fine. It'll just take a lot of work.
We're going to keep the item infusing. We just need to make it better. We need to make it worthwhile for the Artificer to exist beyond the level at which the DM has given you guys a bunch of really cool magic items.
Yeah.
There's a point when you don't have level 9 spells that you're getting level 9 spells as a feature in a magic item.
Yeah.
So, I'm personally going to say, I don't think the magic infusing thing is physically able to scale well with characters. Like with a party.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that whole thing, where, like, I can get a level 9, obviously, possibly, it's up to the DM, but, like, I can get a level 9 spell that I can cast every other day, or X amount of times a day, because of a magic item I have.
Well, I was actually going to say...
Why do I need the Artificer one who, even if we made it to where he could put whatever spells he knows inside of a item, why would I want the, level 6 spells that he's giving me if I can just get it from the DM? So, I still think, no matter what, it's still going to be that issue with the item infusions.
I was going to say that one of the limitations I thought that I would fix with the Artificer was just making it so that at later levels you have infusions that you can do for free, that you don't have to waste one of your infusions. Yeah. And then otherwise you could also just stack multiple infusions on one item, so you can make.
I remember you talking about that because it did give me the idea of, like, I agree. And the thing that'll fix both this and what Abby is talking about is eventually, at some level, making it where the things you give don't require attunement. Mm-hmm. That way your party has no reason not to take them.
The Artificer stuff should feel better than most magic items, as long as they're not absolutely fucking bonkers. And odds are you can't make fucking bonkers shit with
anyways, yeah.
What
But I
about
did. Mhm.
as about like a way to make it better? What about as an class feature at some point?
Mhm.
Probably maybe a little higher up in level. They just get a table of things that they can add on top of their regular infusions that aren't a part of it. So say they put X amount of things inside this. One of the options is you don't have to attune the item, but you can also do
Make
I
it
don't know.
make it a mega super fire double darkness sword or some shit.
Right, like, it can once a day you have the ability to make your whatever damage in this thing guaranteed max damage, because I know that's a feature that some things get anyway. So like once a day you can do that, or
So this is
make one
basically
that's like CC thing, and then
this is basically giving advanced invocations of not invocations, infusions,
right,
eventually.
right, and then these get added on top of the infusions that you currently do.
One of them being it doesn't require attunement. So here's a question, because me and Kai also talked about this. Eventually making it where the items you create or the infusions you make aren't temporary.
Yeah.
Like a select amount of them can be permanent or something.
Okay, so what about like how some of the magic construction spells work? If you cast it an X amount of time, obviously not a year because that's fucking ridiculous. But if you cast it X amount of times every day, or X amount of days every day,
For
it becomes
however
permanent.
long.
For
Yeah,
however
pretty
long
much.
it becomes permanent. So like, say a month or something like that. And then if you do it for a month, that infusion is now permanent in that item, and you no longer have to worry about it.
That basically, because can we talk about how the Artificer doesn't have the like class fantasy of being a magical crafter right now, and that would actually add it to be like, I actually made this item, it's actually real and in the world, and it can go anywhere without me.
Yeah, because at the moment it's like, I said it last time we talked about this, but when you're playing an Artificer and you realize how much you can ever do, you sit there and think, well, who the fuck is making all these magic items then? If it's not an Artificer,
It's not Artificers.
then who's doing it?
Yeah. Okay, that's another thing. What about item reaping in a way? Like Boldeck said, late level ability lets you take the magical effects out of other magic items for use making your own. So they're because they use intelligence, so they're like the wizard, where they're a knowledge-based magic class.
Oh, I absolutely like that. Yeah.
So like how the wizard can go through and tear little bits and pieces and spells and stuff out of others like spell scrolls. Why can't a Artificer do that? And yes, it destroys this item, but they can use that as many times as they want afterwards. They've learned the ability to use that as an infusion.
You're basically paying time and gold to destroy this item, but create a blueprint to mass produce this item.
Yeah, and that version of it makes sense of why you have to destroy the item. I don't understand why you have to destroy the spell scroll
for a wizard. I don't know.
But it's fine. It's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, so that makes sense why you have to destroy the item, because you literally have to reverse engineer it, and that explains gold cost and time, because you have to like figure out how to get this into a thing, and that's gonna fail a lot.
Kai, your thoughts?
I agree. I was thinking that could be like if you make it so that I'd say that would be like a 20th level, because then you could have it not be limited.
Wait. Sorry, no, I agree with you on some of it. But what if it was a scaling feature? Like, you learn how to reproduce common magic items at this level. Uncommon, rare, very rare. Maybe you never quite get to legendary because some of those things are very unique and insane.
Yeah, I wouldn't do legendary items.
Yeah, some things you gotta leave to not DM NPCs, but
because the other problem is, a counter to the fact that the Artificer feels weak, one of the reasons it does, what if the Artificer can make everything? What does the DM give them?
Yeah,
other than items to sacrifice to the...
Right.
We don't want to overcorrect it.
We don't want to overcorrect it to the point where the DM has no... Because, Parker, you had this issue, and to be fair, it was because we're all magic users, and 90% of...
I said, hey guys, here's a cool sword, and then you all looked at Samson.
Yeah, we all looked at Samson, and we're like, here, donate to the cause. And he's like, I have an actual tool belt full of greatswords, and I don't know what to do with them. So, we also have to make sure we're not doing that. So, like...
I think just limiting it open to only scale up to very rare and not do legendary or artifacts,
Yeah.
would be fine then.
That'd probably be good.
And then, like, maybe instead of destroying the item, if you don't want to, like, it's maybe not something you really care about having to repeat and replicate a bunch, you can still add your scale infusion thing to it whenever you get it. Like, the the ability to make it no longer have to tune, whatever. But if it's an item you didn't create, it runs the risk of destroying the item. So, like...
Yeah, you could roll for it when you're studying an item. You could roll to see if it destroyed the original one.
And of course, it's going to use like your intelligence modifier. So like eventually that risk becomes nothing. But yeah, so maybe sometimes it's more worth it to just copy and remake it later because you have less risk of destroying it because you're going to be studying it anyway.
I think
destroying it.
I also think that all of this sounds complicated, but I think it should, because I truly think that when people want to play an Artificer, they want
to be complicated.
They want something to literally crunch into. They want, like, they're the ones that want to picture in their mind the skill tree that they have to take to create this certain item that they have a goal for, and like do these equations thing. I feel like that's the class fantasy of the Artificer, right?
Right. Artificer, as a class, even if it has to be a class, honestly, should be a higher skill level play. Like, you're not going to recommend a Druid to a first-time player. People still do it, sure. But you're not going to do, no DM that knows what they're doing is going to recommend that.
What you're saying is that D&D classes are not all made with a low skill floor.
Right. Like, there is Bard, Rogue, Barbarian, Ranger, Fighter. Those are very, this is my first D&D character kind of things. So I don't think the Artificer needs to be that. It can be a complicated math equation. You can literally immortalize that meme of the chick calculating with all the math symbols in front of her face. That's what an Artificer should be. And again, I think Artificer should still just be a subclass of Wizard. It would give it the full caster. It would mean that you would get abilities, and then you would get Artificer subclass abilities. And I feel like it would be easier to balance an Artificer that way.
I would agree. Hey, Kai, do you agree that this takes its own stream yet?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do all that, it's definitely going to take a while. We can do
I want to. I'm excited about this kind of Artificer.
Then that sounds like that.
Yeah. I recommend we play with the idea of making it its own class, and also play with the idea of making its own subclass. So I feel like that would be its own stream.
Well...
Oh, the subclass. Well, just before we end it, let's mention What's up?
Before we ended it, I was just gonna go through and review all the stuff we've done just as one.
Well, real quick, just because we're saying what we're gonna do the Artificer. Can we we haven't mentioned it yet? Can we talk about the Artificer Club subclasses? Because all of us have the same problem. That all of the Artificer subclasses feel not mechanically the same, but basically subclasses in this game often offer a diversity of theme and roleplay.
They change your class, but the Artificer subclasses don't change your class at all.
And I'm gonna be honest, if you're gonna play an Artificer raw, rules as written, and you don't pick Battlemaster to get a cool pet, you're wrong. So
it's one of the better ones.
It's like the same thing that I have with Druid. Like, why would you pick anything other than the Circle of the Moon?
Yeah. Hey, we addressed that. We sure did
address
that.
I know. But I'm just saying, and then it also has the feeling of the opposite feeling where the Wizard, what's the point of choosing other than the first ability you get? It doesn't feel like the rest of your abilities are worth choosing over anything else, so it's pretty arbitrary. Just pick one and go with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All the Artificers go a step further in terms of they all have the same theme. They all have the same theme of, you're an inventor, you like metal stuff, and that's it. I want to feel... The Alchemist has the closest to changing that formula, but the Alchemist is also designed in a way that doesn't make you feel like an Alchemist at all.
Well, yeah. The other thing is I think some of the subclasses in Artificer could just be made subclasses for Wizard. And Artificer could be made a subclass. They should be separate things, because I kind of get where they're going with Artificer and Alchemist, but those are two separate like entities. When I hear Artificer, I think steampunk. When I think Alchemist, I think Silco or Singed or whatever.
Abby's takeaway from this is the Artificer should have just been a wizard.
Right. When I play, well, the other thing is when I play the Artificer, I want to feel like Jace and Victor from Arcane.
Can you tell we've been watching Arcane?
Feel like I'm doing. Yeah, sorry. I want to feel like I'm doing something that isn't already there.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Anyway.
Then here's what I propose: the order of events. Next time we do this, we don't do Artificer, we do subclasses. Because from what I'm hearing, when we do Artificer, we're going to change pretty much everything.
We're basically remaking the class from the ground up.
Then let's do subclasses next. We'll take the time to pick out the subclasses we think that we should change.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably have to group. That one might be over 2 streams because there's a lot of subclasses in this game.
Right. And then on the final stream of this, or who knows how long subclass is going to take, but either way, the last one, we'll do Artificer all in one, so we don't have to
Artificer's our grand finale.
That'll be the magnum opus of this.
Hey.
You know what would be cool? Because it's going to be its own stream, doing both, like, Artificer as its own class, and the idea of Artificer becoming a subclass for Wizard.
Hey, you
and
know what?
At the end, picking which one works best.
Yeah, you know what, Abby? Just for you, we'll develop an Artificer subclass for Wizard.
Well, that's not what I mean. I don't want it. I'm just
I
saying
know you
what
don't
it should be.
I know. I'm just memeing.
Okay. I got it. Cool. Cut this out, guy.
Probably not.
That's a
Cut
funny
this out.
joke, Parker.
Probably.
Editor, cut this out.
Editors, no, I didn't cut it out.
Okay, well, thank you. So, but in truth, I mean, yes, I'm memeing a little bit, but also I think making an inventor style subclass for the wizard would be decently cool because it still fits. So
Yeah,
we can make an attempt.
If we do both and we decide that Artificer as its own class is definitely better, maybe we can still retroactively fix the subclass and keep it for wizards.
Yeah, if we find something we like, we'll do it. Also, if the Artificer we're developing comes up to be as cool as all of this stuff sounds, I would actually be motivated to make an Artificer.
All right. Then we'll do that. We'll start with
any final notes?
subclasses.
Any final notes, Guy?
Oh, before we end then.
No, I'm saying final notes on the Artificer that you would like to say, because me and Abby have been ranting about the Artificer for a while.
Well, I was just gonna say, honestly, the first thing that came to mind when thinking of an Artificer subclass was, I know you, obviously, Abby liked the Battlesmith, and there's the Alchemist, but in my mind, I instantly went, what if the Artillerist shot spells out of his cannon?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
what it sounds like it should do.
Yeah.
You are a caster that builds things. It sounds like what should.
Well, then that one feels like it's the one that's most fitting for a wizard. Like, your entire field of study is, what if I make other things do the spell for me?
So you're saying is, what if we tried to basically rip the idea of Artillerist and move it over to Wizard and see what we can do with that?
Yeah.
We can try it. We can always try it.
Here's the thing. A lot of the Artillerist, if it's even still its own class, he's still probably going to be, like, midline. He's still going to be in front of the wizard. Having an artillery cannon is very much a wizard thing, so that you can also stand behind an artillery cannon.
I still love the fact that you can make it tiny to basically make it a handheld gun.
Yeah.
So we can literally make Wizard with a gun.
Basically. I think that's what we should do if we were going to change the art, make it a possibility for the wizard. It's just wizard with a gun.
Wizard with a gun.
But yeah, that's my final note for the Artificer. We'll do it on its own whole thing. Who knows how long that's going to take. But until then, I'm going to cover all the things we changed, and all the subclasses, or and all the main classes, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
The Barbarian. I think the only change was dexterity damage rolls for rage damage.
Yeah, we took away the strength requirement for rage damage, so you can now make an attack with... If you make an attack roll with any attribute, you can apply rage damage.
Yep. I was going to highlight it. It was right. When you make a melee weapon attack, that's now the words, instead of melee strength weapon attack. That's it. Didn't change anything else. The level 20 feature even stayed the same. None of that changed. Bard. Bardic Inspiration. We didn't change that. but we changed way down here in... Which one was it? Font of Inspiration? No,
Changed Countercharm.
Countercharm. Basically, you can now use a bonus action, expend a Bardic Inspiration die, and cure, frighten, or charm from anyone within 30 feet of you, ending it instantly. Gets you a little extra use with the Bardic Inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
20th level feature also changed. If you are the target of your own Bardic Inspiration feature, you do not expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
So you now are just fucking unlimited charismatics. Cleric! Well, I was going to do a whole lot with the subclasses, so the only main thing that changed with it was the Channel Divinity. Turn Undead and Destroy Undead are now two separate things, and you can use Destroy Undead on anyone that is equal to or lower than your challenge rating. Anyone that is above your challenge rating is not affected, and it's a Constitution save instead of a Wisdom.
We basically ripped it apart from Turn Undead and made it its own ability.
Right. I was gonna do with the spells, by the way, just saying that your spells are gonna be decided by your domain, which also means that when we do the subclasses, I'll have to go through each of the fucking cleric subclasses.
Some of these will require prep work.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that outside of this stream. But yeah, that's what I want to do with the cleric. I think that'd be more fun, even if it's a lot of work, just because it helps make the various domains of the gods, of the things you're praying to, feel different. Because as it stands, the only difference between your two domains is one Channel Divinity and like two features that usually only matter a small amount. Unless you're like a Twilight cleric.
Shut the fuck up. Keep going.
Anyways, Druid, Wild Shape. You can now use it as a bonus action instead of an action, and you can cast spells at 5th level through your Wild Shape. We took those from the Moon Druid and gave it to everyone. Moon Druid's still really good. Everyone else can now also use Wild Shape and not look like a fucking idiot.
Moon Druid still has the fact that it can transform into way more powerful things.
Yeah.
Which is all it really needs.
We definitely didn't change the level 20 feature of that one.
Ooh.
Fighter didn't change at all. We were both perfectly fine with Fighter. Monk. Flurry of Blows is now the base feature of the martial arts. Use a bonus action and you do 2 extra hits. Doesn't cost a key point. Then
With the prerequisite, well, never mind. Continue. You're fine.
Yep. And then going down, the next thing that changed was Deflect Missiles. You can now use it to yourself and anyone around you, but it requires a roll of your martial arts die to Dex modifier and affects the AC instead of the health.
We write the AC part.
When you do so, damage you take from the attack is reduced by 1 roll of your martial arts die. Oh, it should be.
We did not change it to AC. I'll change it. Keep reading.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, it's going to use your AC instead of your health, and that way, if the attack misses based on AC, then you can reflect it. If it hits, then it sucks to be you or them. And then also at level 20, because I think nothing else changed until then. At level 20, you can use a bonus action, roll a martial arts die, and get a number of key points back, equal to your roll. Because the base monk level 20 feature is ass. And then this is the only optional class feature we changed. For the dedicated weapon, it does not have to be something you're proficient in. It could be any weapon that's simple or martial and isn't heavy or special. I believe that's all of those. Paladin had the exact same change, or it had the change of Divine Sense, I believe. Only on the point that at 18th level, it is an aura, and it's passive. I think that was fine. Shell Divinity is all based on their subclasses, so nothing else changed on that front. Yep, that was just them all. Ranger. Did we change any? Yes, we did. Which was it? I know we changed our 20th level. Was that it?
I think so, actually.
Then yeah.
Because Ranger was pretty okay.
Basically, with the Ranger now, when you make an attack roll against a favored enemy or favored foe, you can make the attack at advantage. Your attack roll is a critical hit at 19, or that says 10, but should be 20. And your attack deals additional damage equal to 1 roll of the weapons dice. Also, Alice, that is a subclass thing, not a base class thing for the Ranger. Then we have the rogue. I spearheaded this change. Way down in evasion. Oh, that's the other thing that changed with the monk. I knew I forgot something. But for monk and rogue, with evasion, when you make that dexterity save and you succeed on the saving throw, you can either choose to take half the damage and suffer no side effects, or you can use a reaction and move the shortest amount of space using your movement and get out of the attack's affected area, taking no damage. If you cannot get out of the way with your movement, you still take the damage. You would have to choose the first feature. Reliable talent also changed. Basically, you can choose a number of creatures equal to your proficiency, and if they're within 10 feet of you. When all of those creatures, including yourself, need to make a stealth check, they can use your roll. They can use whatever you did on the stealth. Level 20, I'm pretty sure, changed pretty much exactly the same, except we added the old reliable talent to it as a base, so that all your rolls are treated as a 10 if they're under 10. Just because, why not? It was a fine feature, it just felt too early. And why don't the rogues get a super cool level 20th thing on top of that? Sorcerers. Let's just go down. I'm pretty sure we changed the meta magic, each one, except for the last three. Careful spell. Did that change? We didn't change that one, did we?
Wait, which one?
Careful spell. When you cast a spell that forces other creatures to make it... Okay. Distance spell. We basically gave it the extra caveat. When you cast a spell that has a radius of or area or effect... When you cast a spell that has a radius or area of effect, you double the space affected by the spell. Well, you have to spend a sorcery point and you double the space. That way you can make big spell with distance spell.
Big spell.
Empowered spell. When you roll damage for a spell, you can spend a sorcery point and reroll a number of damage dice up to your charisma modifier. You then take the greater result between the two rolls. That way you just use more dice for that one and just choose the best answer. Won't be the highest amount of damage physically possible, but odds are it'll have to be better than what you rolled before. Extended spell. There's no time limit. It can go over 24 hours if you really want. Heightened spell. When you cast a spell, force a creature to make a save to resist effects. You can use a sorcery point equal to half the level. I don't think we changed that one either, did we? No, the cost changed. That's right.
The cost changed.
You can, wow, you can sorcery points. That was dumb on me. You can spend sorcery points equal to half the level rounded up to give one target of the spell disadvantage on its first saving throw made against the spell. That way, the early spells can use it, and the late spells still have to spend a lot of points to use it. Quicken spell. That same. Cell spell's the same. Twin spell's the same.
Did you also say that we changed meta magic so that you can do more than one meta magic per spell?
Yes. We took out the limit. You can use multiple meta magics. Because why not? You're supposed to be cool. Then you got level 20th feature. Your meta magic features do not cost sorcery points. Your regular features do, and regaining spell slots still do, but meta magic does not. You can use as many times as you want. Then there was Seeking Spell. You can reroll the d20. I mean, we just took out the unneeded word that says you have to use the new roll, because if you miss a spell, why wouldn't you use the new roll? Like, that was just a phrasing issue. We didn't change the spell. Transmuted spell, we're gonna add that to the subclasses for everyone. Sorcerer's versatility didn't change. I think that's it. Yes. Warlock didn't change at all. Warlock's cool. Wizard! I think you talked about this during the break, but I'll say it one last time here. I believe the spell casting, basically, your spell book starts the same. You still have those spells you start with, but there is no limit to how many spells that you can basically prepare at once. There's no prepared casting. It's just if they're in the book, they're in the book. You know them. You learn them. And you can also put spells from other classes in your book. It's just that's what costs gold. Wizard spells to do the same are free. That way it doesn't cost gold to use a spell scroll that you could just learn by leveling up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, So we did that. Spellbook is cooler, and you're now the Apex caster that can learn as many spells as you can physically get your hands on. I don't think we changed their features other than their final level. I don't
We
think
changed our final level, and that's it.
Yeah, Arcane Tradition and Recovery is all the same. So, signature spell. When you reach 20th level, you gain mastery over a spell of your choosing when you reach this level. Upon level up, choose any spell, I guess any one spell, but you know, any one spell to use for this feature. You can cast this spell once per long rest without expending a spell slot, even while casting at a higher level. You must obey all other rules of the spell you choose, but it may be from any spell list, not just a wizard's. This is your apex spellcasting spell. You always know it, can always cast it. This is your fucking magnum opus. It's always the best it can be.
Yep.
And that's it.
And that's all of them. I think we did rather good.